Reports surfacing today that the Baltimore Ravens are possibly interested in a trade for Davante Adams. Welcome into Ravens Rundown, everybody. I'm your host, Joey Petersen. Thanks so much for being here. We'll break down the possibility of this, why Baltimore might not be doing it. Again, thanks so much for being here. Before we get into any of that, I need you guys. We need you guys. We are closing in on our next milestone. It's the biggest milestone we've had since 9,000 subscribers ago because we are only 834 subs away from 20K. So if you haven't already, hit that sub button. Join the over 19,000 members of the flock that we got rocking with us right here on Ravens Rundown. And without further ado, let's get into the video. So the Davante Adams saga lives on. Now, I don't think it's going to last much longer. I expect this to come to a resolution within the next 4 or 5 days. However, Ian Rapaport dropped a new article this morning on the wishes of Davante Adams and some teams' wishes on Davante Adams. Rapaport saying if Davante Adams gets his wish, he'll eventually be a member of the New York Jets, playing with his friend, 4-time NFL MVP Aaron Rodgers. New York is where the Raiders star wants to play. After informing the team on Monday, he prefers to be traded, multiple sources say. And Rapaport, not the only one reporting on this. Adam Schefter with the tweet from yesterday saying 2 teams high on Davante Adams' wish list of places to land, if not the very top, are the Jets and Saints. Per league sources, Adams ideally would like to play with a quarterback he knows. The Jets have former teammate Aaron Rodgers, and the Saints have former teammate Derrick Carr. And I know what you're saying, Joey, this isn't the Jets rundown. This isn't the Saints rundown. Why are we talking about this? Well, Rapaport went on through the rest of his article, and he had this to say. In fact, according to sources informed him of Adams' thinking, he is open to playing for several other teams. The New Orleans Saints, Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens, Buffalo Bills, Dallas Cowboys, and perhaps the San Francisco 49ers are among teams that have either inquired about the 6-time Pro Bowler or are places Adams would be happy landing. So there you go. Your Baltimore Ravens find themselves on that list. And how do you feel about it? What do you think about it? But more importantly, before we get into anything else, where do you think he lands? You let me know in the comment section down below. You might get hit with a YouTube ad break coming up. And so to make that time go by faster, go down to the comment section. Again, this is going to be the pinned comment. Type NY if you think he lands with the Jets, NO if you think he lands with the Saints, and BAL if you think he lands with the Ravens. So I'll tell you my most likelies. And no, the Ravens aren't on this list. I think number 1 is the Jets. I think that's the most likely option. We all know the bromance that him and Aaron Rodgers have, and so that's got to be number 1. Number 2 is the Saints. He, for some reason, loves Derrick Carr and thinks that he's this most elite quarterback ever. Could you imagine if he would played college with a quarterback that's better than Derrick Carr, how much more attached he'd be? Because I swear, Davante Adams has more Derrick Carr stock than anybody else in the entire world. Number 3, I think the Steelers, as much as I hate to say it, are a real possibility. They have a lot of cap space. And I think the Bills could take a swing after seeing what they did against a good defense without a legit receiving threat. And the reason that the Ravens are not on my list of most likelies is because I think Davante Adams might be more interested in being a Baltimore Raven than the Baltimore Ravens are interested in taking on Davante Adams. This came on Twitter just the other day. This was an interview back in January. He was asked, okay, would you rather have another 1,700, 1,600 receiving yard season, or would you be okay getting a championship but having an 800 to 900 year with a team like the Baltimore Ravens? And he said, I've had big seasons. I don't necessarily need the 1,700. That would feel great, but if you're giving me a bowl and I get to go out there with Lamar and have fun, I think I might take that 800 to 900. So that's what he was saying back in January. And now that he's requesting a trade, you got to think he still is showing some interest. He sees the legitimate opportunity and possibility that this team has of competing for a Super Bowl. But I'm honestly surprised if that Ian Rapaport article is true and that the Baltimore Ravens are the ones showing interest, not Davante Adams showing interest in the Ravens, then that catches me a little bit by surprise. And that's just because flat out, guys, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think it works. And there's two reasons why. My number one reason, dollar bills. The money, 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 money. You know what I'm talking about. Let's break down this contract situation with Davante Adams and why it just doesn't fit with the Baltimore Ravens. Number one, Ravens cap space right now is sitting at $4.3 million. That's bottom 5 in the NFL. Adams' salary is $16.89 million. However, they wouldn't take on all of that because per week, he's getting about $938,000. So he's already been through 4 weeks this season, about to be through 5. But let's say you trade for him this week, today, perhaps. You have to pay 14/18 of that salary, which is $13.13 million. And his contract for the next 2 years, $35.64 million per year. So with the Ravens having $4.3 million in cap space, they would have to move around a lot to fit in Davante Adams, or they would need contract help from Las Vegas. And I just don't see a world where Las Vegas trades Davante Adams to a legit contender in the same conference that they're in and also helps them with the contracts. When there's multiple teams, like probably the Jets and probably the Saints or even the Steelers, who don't necessarily need the contract help, that they could ship Davante Adams off to. It doesn't make sense from the money perspective. I wish it did, but it just flat out doesn't. So then that begs the question, do you think Baltimore needs Davante Adams? Right? If they don't make this move, do you think it's that big of a detriment to this team? If you think yes, type Y in the comment section. And if you think no, give me an in. Coming up real shortly, my final reason why it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Stay tuned. But before we get to that, I got to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video. And that, of course, is Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats with the lowest prices guaranteed. And if you're so excited that football season is finally here and in full swing and can't wait to get tickets to the big game lockdown, you're going to want to give Game Time a shot. Game Time is the only place I go when I'm trying to get tickets to any NFL or college football game. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. The tool highlights the best deals, including great and amazing deals, which are the highest value seats at the time. For some events, Game Time Picks also identifies a super deal, which is the best seat value in the venue. Guys, that atmosphere on Sunday Night Football just 4 days ago was absolutely electric. And if you're watching that game thinking, I got to be there, I got to get to the bank for this next home game that we've got against Commanders, well, you got to use Game Time to do so. There's so many things I love about it. You can see the views from your seat. You get the lowest prices guaranteed. And the best part is we here at Chat Sports are offering you $20 off your first purchase if you just use the code Chat Sports. So head on over to Game Time and take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Chat Sports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time. And the second reason why I don't think it works is just because of the fit. And you guys know how when you get a nice suit on or tux like my friend in the graphic is wearing, you feel good, right? You're feeling good with yourself. Everything's fitted nice. It's tailored. You're looking good. But everybody knows if you're wearing a suit or something nice, it's a little too big on you, a little too baggy. You're kind of insecure. You don't like the way it fits. You don't like the way you look. And I just kind of think that's how Davante Adams would be in this offense. Just don't think that at the end of the day, this is an offense that he fits into. And I don't think it's just a this year thing. This goes back years. This goes back even decades, right? Because wide receivers in Baltimore typically aren't the highest receiving, highest targets, highest yardage gainers across the NFL. The last time a wide receiver, and I know in the comment section you're going to say Mark Andrews did it just a couple years ago. I'm talking wide receivers here. The last wide receiver in Baltimore to get over 1,000 yards in a season was Mike Wallace in 2017. And the last wide receiver to get over 100 receptions in Baltimore was Derrick Mason in 2007. So it's been a long time since wide receivers have seen massive success in their careers here. And then you take into account how this offense is running just this year in general, the exact opposite of what a top name, big figure wide receiver I think would want to come into. Because you're only passing the ball 27 times a game right now. That's 23rd in the NFL. And against Dallas and against Buffalo, you passed it 33 times combined. Not in a game, combined. 15 and 18. And that's because you got a guy like Derrick Henry and you got a guy like Lamar Jackson. So you use their strengths in that way. And that's just not what Davante Adams is used to in his career. If you just look at the last 6 years, 5 of them, he's had over 100 receptions, and he's had over 1,000 yards. The only time he did it was 2019, where he only played in 12 games. So he's used to being fed. He's used to getting the ball. He's used to getting over 1,000 yards in a season. And when he doesn't, it tends to upset him. This was just last season. After a game, mind you, his team won the game. Yet he comes to the press conference after the game and says this: when you're a player like me, mentally, my benchmark is not wins and losses, it's greatness. So when I go out there, I expect to be able to have that ability to put that on tape and to have an influence on the game. He's saying that after a win against his former team last year. What do you think he's going to say 3 games into the season when Derrick Henry, throughout 3 games, has 600 yards rushing and 150 carries? Now, am I being a little bit exaggerative? Yes, but you get what I'm saying. It might be nice to think, okay, I could come into this team and we could go win a Super Bowl. But if you heard that sound clip, if you heard that quote, does that sound like a guy that'd be okay with, hey, you got to go out there and block 50 times a game? Because it doesn't sound that to me. And yes, it would be really cool, but I just don't think it makes sense financially. And at the end of the day, I just don't think he makes sense as a Baltimore Raven. That's just how I'm feeling. How would you guys feel if the Ravens traded for him? Fill in the blank for me. I would be blank if the Ravens traded for Davante Adams. Let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. I really appreciate it. This has been an awesome week. It's been an awesome football season so far, getting to cover this team for you all. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because we're trying to get to 19K as fast as we can.